is typical of where we go with these all the time. And I think, what the board is obligated to do is concentrate on the law, and that's it.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you very much. Okay,
Sure.
I see this gentleman in the front here. Yes, you, sir, with your hand up. Just come forward.
Just a point of information.
And just,
Okay.
you have to identify yourself
Sure.
and speak into the mic, please.
My name is Dr. Martin Dunn, 50 Briarbrook Street, Milton. Just a point of information. I know the hour's late and you want to, but I've tried to speak the last two meetings. One, I sat for 3.5 hours. Tonight I sat for 4 hours. And this man was up here standing before you recognize him. What I would just request, I'm willing to come back to the next meeting, but can we continue on with the people who want to speak rather than starting all over again? In other words, can it truly be continued so that because I have about 5 or 6 minutes and I don't want to take it now because no one's going to listen to me. I mean, everyone wants to go. And I understand that, but could you just take off where we left off, or take up where we left off tonight, so that we don't have to go through the routine? And I've been very patient, but when someone else jumps up and then is recognized, I called Bill Clark on Tuesday, and I said that I wanted to speak, and could I be on the program to speak, because I wasn't allowed to last time. So that's my request, and no one wants to listen to me now. And
Well, first of all, I apologize. I did not see you indicate last time that you wanted to speak. So if I missed you, I apologize for that, because we do not want to cut off anybody from speaking.
Right.
I will make a note that you'll be the first to be recognized next time. I don't know about the other members of the board. I would like to hear the members of the public, and I don't want anybody who's been sitting through such a long evening to not be heard.
To the
So,
extent that the comments are reference to what we're speaking about tonight, I think
Yes.
I would like to hear them
yeah,
tonight.
no, mine are not.
Okay.
And in fact, they're in general going back. I think this board knows that I've missed one meeting in well over 2 years. So I've been at all meetings. I've been very patient. I've spoken twice. This would have been my third time. But no, it's thoughts that I want to just synopsis of what's gone on as you begin to go into making a final decision. So specifically, it's not about parking. It's not. But neither was Mr. Rose about an item tonight. So
okay.
okay.
As I said, I've marked you to speak first at the next meeting, and
Okay.
the general. Does anybody else wish to speak? And thank you very much, sir, and I apologize. Does anybody else wish to speak to what we've discussed tonight in the board's discussion? Yes, ma'am. And then for anybody else, if you had planned to speak tonight and decided that you don't want to, please see me after the meeting and give me your names, and I will recognize you in order the next time if you wish to come back. Please identify yourself and where you live.
I'm Carol Stalker. I live at 291 Hillside Street. I've lived across the street from Thayer Nursery for 35 years, which is longer than any of the abutters. And I have always enjoyed having them there. And I resent when people who don't agree with Mr. Johannes are called fictitious, or said to be bought off by the nursery, or said that they don't exist or don't speak, when in fact he's hogging the microphone while 5 other people who have been waiting patiently also want to speak. And I think there is a lot of support in the neighborhood for Thayer Nursery, which is in fact trying to be relevant. The Christmas tree issue. They are the heart of the neighborhood, and the neighborhood is turning over. There's a lot of young families with little kids, and they love going to Thayer Nursery with their parents. It's like a little, magic village. And I think that when you talk about what is detrimental to the neighborhood, having a place that you can walk to buy your Christmas tree is not detrimental to the neighborhood, and a place that's all decorated with pretty lights, and a place that host neighborhood functions. For instance, they're having a family barbecue that they're hosting next Thursday for the neighbors. and they've had Easter egg hunts. This is a multi-generational family business with a lot of little kids. And those little kids, those little Oldfields, are the same ages as the little kids whose parents are moving into this neighborhood as it turns over, and older people like me sell their houses. And this would be a tremendous loss to all those families. It's a neighborhood center. And it has become even more so since it's been taken over by Maggie and Josh, and they've started their young families. And I don't see any dust, and I don't see any fumes, and I don't hear noise. And I think that there are a couple of people who talk about irrational, just trying to drive this longtime family business out of business. And that no matter what you do, they will just try to pick them to death. And they cannot be satisfied. But,
Thank you.
and if you want to hear from more neighbors, we'll bring more neighbors in who are not these same couple of people the next time that there's a meeting.
Okay, thank you for speaking. Sir, please come forward.
Oh, and
Again-
also, I'm a former president of the Hillside Neighborhood Association.
Thank you. And again, we ask that people try and keep their comments to what we discuss as board members tonight on the mitigation and other requirements.
Robert Muzzy, 291 Hillside Street, also and a butter for 35 years. In general, I think the board has been reasonable in the amelioration that they've discussed in order to mitigate some of the effects of the nursery on the neighborhood. And I don't, in general, object to the impact they have, even though we live right where all the equipment comes down the street and around our corner there. I also want to point out that as a professional historian, I spent probably almost all of last December researching about 500 deeds of the neighborhood. I looked through all U.S. censuses from 1840 to 1940, and Hillside neighborhood, Scottswood, has always been an agricultural area. Virtually everyone who lived in the neighborhood up to the 1910s, when wealthy Bostonians began to make it a summer state area, were farmers, yeomen, as they were called, yeoman farmers, or they were tradesmen like a carpenter or a bootmaker or a shoemaker. So the agricultural part of our history is the backbone of what Milton has always been, and the Scottswoods neighborhood has always been essentially agricultural. And Thayer Nursery is the only remnant remaining of that. And then what are there, 4 nurseries in Milton? That's it for all that's left of the agriculture in Milton. So I would urge you to support their application, and I believe that the amelioration that you have suggested is adequate.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else who wishes to speak tonight, please come forward.
I'm Donna Swanson. I'm at 303 Hillside Street, basically across the street from their nursery. We bought our house 8 years ago and love the fact that their nursery is there. We go there often, and our children have gone there, and it makes our part of Scottswood so unique. In terms of the parking and talking about parking, whenever you walk by, it's very neatly done, it's tastefully done, and it goes along with everything in the neighborhood. And to move their trucks to where the front part of the parking lot, I think that would be it wouldn't be appropriate, because it's the way the Oldfields have set it up is beautiful landscaping, and it's a real positive things for the neighborhood. So to wherever they're parking their vehicles now is perfect, because it's not an eyesore.
Hey, go on, ma'am.
I didn't laugh at you when you were up there. Well,
Go on.
anyway, so, and I would suggest that we maintain the parking where it is, because it really works for most of the neighbors. and that's all.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else wish to speak tonight? All right, in that case, we are going to continue this public hearing to, yes,
Just a quick question.
very quick.
Understood, but is there an opportunity for us to dedicate a meeting to this? Because we've gotten through 2 sections tonight. This application could just drag on forever. Is there a meeting after next meeting that we can bump this to just give it a night?
A whole
Because,
night by itself?
I mean, honestly, we need to, in my opinion, we need to move this along. We're getting
Yeah, I
through
don't
2
have an
sections a
objection
week.
to moving it on. So next time, we already know we've got Woodmere, not Woodmere, and we'll probably have 333 Brush Hill. We could move this to June 25th and give it a meeting all its own, but that would be the only opportunity to do that.
What about
So-
the week after next time?
Have a second meeting or an earlier meeting in June?
Well, I
We could do
mean,
that, June
Kicking
8th.
it over from the 11th is a little unfair.
I
and
agree, I agree with that.
And since we've continued one thing to the 11th, let's do it on the 18th.
I'm fine with
And,
that.
I don't, let me just check my calendar. I think I should be okay.
Does that mean we'll get out earlier on the 11th?
Yes.
Well,
may
we've got
have
Can I
a
two
just,
conflict on
things
the
that
18th.
we've got plenty to do on the 11th.
Yes, I could do I can do the
I
18th.
have a
not
conflict
objection.
potentially on the 18th. It will just depend on whether another public hearing gets kicked. So,
Well, we need to do it to a date certain. Does anybody have a problem with the 17th?
What about the Wednesday,
The 17th?
the 17th?
fine
I'm
with
okay on the,
17th.
Emily, can I also make a request, as I think you started to say, is that the people who wish to speak, who have not spoken to us, whether it's for what's discussed that night or not, get the first opportunity to speak?
I was going to, I don't mean to interrupt, but you're
Hit the head?
taking the words out of my
Yeah.
mouth,
Okay.
that we should get people's names, whether they email them to Tim or whatever, people who haven't had the opportunity to speak,
You wish
get the
to speak?
opportunity to speak.
Okay. So-
And then I would like to respectfully request that people sitting in the audience not chuckle or otherwise comment while people are at the microphone. I know some people have said to me when I was running for this office that it's intimidating to come up and make comments. I think it's particularly intimidating if people are laughing behind their back when they're
Yeah,
sitting
and I
there.
heard that
So please
several
don't do
times
that.
through this meeting from many different people, so I agree, don't do it again. So Dr. Dunn will be the first person up next time. I have a potential conflict on the 17th, and I won't know for probably until that week whether or not it's there. So
What about
I
the
could do,
16th?
it's a potential for 15th, 16th, and 17th. I have to hold them all. And I won't know for at least another week and a half whether or not it's required. 10th?
2 in a row.
I may be free on the 10th. I am free on the 10th. I
I
could do it.
can't do the 10th. But you have to pick who you can do.
I can't do the 9th, but I could do the 8th. Or I could also do the 19th if you want to do a Friday.
Do not want to do a Friday. I'm available the
Friday is
8th.
eighth?
No, Friday
eighth?
won't, you won't get the
We're
public
We're doing
comment.
the summer.
8th I can do we can schedule it for the 18th, and I'll just, I may,
Have you missed? You haven't missed one
I
already?
haven't missed
have you?
one on there yet. So
Okay.
I could, as long as we're not going to vote that night, I could watch it.
I can pretty much guarantee we won't be voting that night. All right, the 18th then?
18th then.
You guys are good with the
The
18th?
18th.
What about the 8th? You decided not on the
I'm
8th?
okay with the 8th. Do
What
we
about
get-
everyone else on the 8th?
I don't know about the 8th.
Let's do it the 18th.
Okay,
Okay.
18th. So we're going to continue
And we
this.
want that drainage plan. We want the drainage plan.
Yes. In fact, I would say everything that has come up to
like to
date,
have.
we want the response to that. And do you have a copy of the matrix that Tim's been working on? Okay. So
Which will only help.
anything you can anticipate would also be helpful. So, all right, so the 18th, we will do it at,
6:45.
that means we don't have a 7 o'clock start. I think 7 o'clock.
No, I'm suggesting we start the hearing at 6:45, and we start at 6:30.
Are we going to all be able to make it by then?
It's really challenging for me to get here at 6:30.
I actually have to
Traffic
leave
was
work.
so
by
right.
I mean, doing it at 7 is fine, as long as we stop at 10.
Yes.
And I don't, it seems to me that going past 10 is just
I agree, it is not one of my favorites, so
Well, there's no need for it.
tonight there was, but I
Well,
agree, not
It's
other
not
nights.
productive.
Okay, so 18th, start at 7, guaranteed to be finished by 10. And then
Emily,
we're just cutting the clock at that, yes.
Just to that comment, some of these more complicated projects and public hearings, maybe we shouldn't have more than one a night for those, because it feels like it's rushed.
Well, these
We
were
have
scheduled 15 minutes apart.
Yeah.
We have had
It
a
was clear that
perfect,
it wasn't going to happen.
right, we have had a perfect storm of applications come through recently. Unfortunately, we may have more coming up, so we will do our best. All right, 18th, 7 o'clock, 333 Brush Hill Road. Site plan approval, special public hearing. Is our person here?
Is that the same?
That was the one who didn't show last time.
Heck with them.
So people, if you could move out as quickly and as quietly as possible, we have another public hearing. Come on out.
And I didn't bring my drawings.
Hello. Hello. Welcome, and when you sit down, please introduce yourself and speak into the mic.
We'll do that.
I understand you had some traffic problems last time.
Well, I wasn't the one, I was in another meeting.
Okay.
But the person who was coming here did have some horrendous traffic issues getting here. For the record, my name is Frederick Geisel. I'm a professional civil engineer representing Civil Environmental Consultants tonight. And I'm going to be very brief.
That's our favorite words tonight.
Ken Buffard from Civil Environmental Consultants apologizes he couldn't be here tonight because he had a wake to go to. But given the late hour, he could have made it. But in any event, we just received today some comments from town engineer,
Yes.
which we have tried to address at least briefly, and I've actually bought 6 sets of revised plans so that we could give them back to the town engineer, to you, and we also received information for a peer review consultant, which I believe that Ken Buffard talked to the client and responded positively, but that needs to be arranged, done, and carried on, and then revisions, whatever, responding to that. So that's in the works. But what I'm suggesting right now, that I can present some stuff to you if you're willing, or just give you the plans.
Shouldn't you give them to the town engineer and have him look at them?
Well, that would be an idea. That's why I have the plans, some plans here.
I think that would be a good idea.
Okay.
He's
I
reviewed
don't
them
want to
once,
take any
we
more
have
of
a
your
ladder.
time, and I'm not sure you're interested in looking at plans.
My understanding is that I spoke with Ken this afternoon,
Right.
and he said that he has had a chance to talk to John Thompson, and a certain number of issues in this memo have been addressed in these plans, so.
Correct.
I just have a
It
question
might
too.
be worth looking at them, because they have addressed things that the town engineer has.
The town engineer has seen these revised plans?
No, they were
He's
just,
seen the ones that,
came before.
I just make a brief comment. I mean, since it was his comments that initiated these revisions, he should be the first
I
to review them.
think everyone would agree with that.
So,
I'm fine with that. I'm just curious whether you also have the additional information that we requested at the last hearing, that
The
in that
amount of
set.
fill?
The amount of fill and the
Site
site
sections.
sections. Yeah.
They do have plans in here showing site sections. I can
Excellent.
show them to you if you want to see them, but they're,
I'm happy to take a copy with me.
yes,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
we would all like those, yes.
And I don't think the quantity of fill has been totally calculated. We can calculate that number.
Okay.
I did note that. I didn't get that comment from initially. I do the sections and a planet profile. We made a revision to where the sewer line goes, and we showed the length of it along the roadway, but we need to extend that. And we didn't really practically have the time to do that today. It extends off the roadway through an easement, where it would discharge to the gravity sewer line, rather than the other way we had proposed to put it, which was going to a pumping station, which would then add,
Which again were comments from the town engineer.
yeah,
That
exactly.
initiated
We
that.
addressed that, right, exactly. So we've just made those changes, but we haven't continued the profile to show how it would connect and everything else. So that's,
Well, you're going to do that.
we're going to do that, right.
And the
but
town engineer is going to look at it.
He's going to look at it there, right. We hadn't had a chance to do everything. We tried to get most stuff together. So at least he can say, okay, you've got the idea. We're following his comments.
So here's my first question for you, which is, with the other things that you need to do, would you be prepared to come back on June 11th, or would you prefer June 25th to give you sufficient time?
I think with a peer review consultant having to look at things and give comments and have her have a chance to, it's Lisa Eggleston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eggleston Environmental, so, I think 2 weeks is not gonna be rushing it, I mean, we can get some comments, but get them back and have a chance to, yes, we've reviewed this and you've addressed our issues, and so that my thoughts were to make it June 25th.
Okay, so I think that's reasonable, and we'll put you on first thing on June 25th. So to reward you for your patience tonight, so we'll do 7 o'clock at June 25th.
I made sure I got here on time early, so I was here at 7.
The fact that you're smiling is,
We appreciate that.
I enjoyed the presentation
a little
and the
vignette of
discussions.
life that you've got here.
So do we want an explanation now? Do we want to wait and let
I
this
think
gentleman
that
go home?
we want to wait
Okay.
to the 25th, and I think that we should discuss the master plan on the 11th.
Okay, so let me just, before we get there, we're going to continue you to the 25th at 7 PM.
Okay.
Excuse me one second, Emily. Are we taking drawings with us?
If you would like to take a drawing with you, by all means. So I think you
You-
can.
you
Bill
have
has
the
taken them.
seven copies over there?
I have 6.
6, okay.
Okay. We can get other ones, particularly if you want to send to the consultant, like, we can send them directly,
Yeah,
or
I
would
think
you rather
we'll be
be?
fine with these, because you're going to have the engineer review them
Right.
anyway, so we don't
And
want you to do
once
multiple
they've
copies, just
reviewed-
have them changed.
You're also missing the 2 pages that you already have, which are
is
the
it?
last 2 pages.
Okay.
There's an 8 and a 9. One of them's a landscape plan, and I don't know what the other
Oh, I think it was the architectural?
architectural detail.
Right, what you already had, but they didn't change.
Right. So
So-
So don't throw away our
Oh, yeah,
plans.
so on the architectural, we had also requested that the accurate grade and where the garage, there's a garage that's below, that's not shown in the elevations, right?
You have what we want.
You
Yeah.
sent that out, okay.
You've got his name and email. Okay, we're going
until
to
it's
send you an email
done.
tomorrow.
Okay,
Not tomorrow.
not
Monday.
tomorrow, Monday.
Monday.
Okay.
Well, we could just a real brief, if, when you're virtually done sometime before the 25th, maybe we could get an electronic copy sent.
Yeah.
Right, that's one thing. Would you like to have reduced size?
Yes, that'd be
Send- and
fantastic.
we
Yeah.
can PDF and,
Yeah.
and then send you reduced size plans, so you physically have and also electronic copy of everything.
You're going to
So-
have
Perfect, thank you.
full-size plans also.
Oh, yes, yes,
All right.
right.
Okay.
Every format that we're
Every
entitled
format.
to.
Every form I can think of. Okay, Twitter?
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank
We'll
you.
see you on the 25th,
Okay,
and we appreciate your patience.
I'm sure we'll be,
I'll shoot you or Ken an email on Monday and just sort
let
of,
me give you my, my card with my personal email, so that, make sure Ken forwards things, but sometimes
Yeah.
I don't always get everything.
And that's me.
It's best to.
So while they're exchanging cards, everyone, we have one last item on the agenda, which is the master plan. Alex has some changes he would like to propose. Alex, do you have copies of those with you tonight?
I
That you
do.
can hand out for our review, and then
I
I
do.
suggest
This
we
is
take it up
something-
at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so we have made, as you know, Tim did a yeoman's job of making a number of corrections, typographical and otherwise. And he addressed some of Alex's questions in there where they were relatively easy to do. Alex, have you identified which ones he's already addressed? Or?
I have. I've made little asterisks.
Okay, great.
I took Tim's letter and I asterisked the things that had not been addressed.
Not addressed.
And I identify what the asterisk
means
right at the beginning. And my view is, just quickly, I think that if you look at this stuff, we really shouldn't have to have a big discussion about it, because most of the stuff is stuff that can be done, and we have a master technician who can do it. And you know, it's sort of like it says complete the housing production plan. I mean, that just is not good. Keep it up to date. Easy to do, but it doesn't, when you read it, you don't say, what are these stupid people? It was done months ago. Native Americans, just put in before the Puritans landed that there were some Native Americans around. It just isn't friendly to say the Puritans came and
suddenly everything appeared.
That's where it all started.
That's where it all started, because it's not, but you know, the most of this stuff, there are a few things that you won't agree with, but or you won't.
I might. You never know. I can be surprisingly agreeable.
All right. In any event, if I'm happy to talk to someone if the master plan committee designates someone that should talk to me. I'm happy to do it, just to indicate what it might take.
I think the master plan committee is done, and it's just going to be a board discussion at this point. They had their last meeting in October.
Well, if a board member wants to discuss it with me, that's fine. Because doing it at a meeting, there are 130 items, and maybe 30 have been addressed, so that leaves 100. We don't want to do that.
So have a look at it, and we'll bring it up for discussion again on June 11th.
Unless someone contacts me, and then we can.
Well, we'll still discuss. We're going to bring the master plan up for discussion on June 11th.
Right, but I mean, if someone were to contact me and we could discuss it, we probably could get through it pretty quick.
I will contact you, Alex. We can even get it through really quick. So before we leave, because I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn in approximately 10 seconds, we will, we being the planning department and me, will work on a better schedule so we get out well before 10 o'clock on nights. And I apologize for the length of this meeting, and I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
Cheryl, you want a copy?
Yeah.